One of the main things is like, do I want to put myself back on a career path where I'm just always romantic lead? Like, fidelity in every relationship, and especially my marriage, is important to me.
Want it, don't give it to him.
Score.
Just keep restraint.
Yeah,
Score.
just do a little bit of restraint.
Ryan, come on back.
Penn Badgley just dropped a truth bomb about Blake Lively, and trust me, it ain't pretty. While Hollywood has been busy obsessing over her flawless image, perfect hair, designer fits, and that polished A-list glow, behind the scenes, the real Blake? A whole different story. That sweet, charming persona. Just a mask. Mean girl energy doesn't even begin to describe what Penn had to deal with. And if you think this is some overblown gossip, wait till you hear how she went out of her way to ruin his career. Oh, but hold up. There's even more mess to unpack. Alabama Barker just threw down with a major Bieber bombshell, and this one's messy. Plus, the convo around Justin Bieber's past just took a disturbing turn with fresh claims that his own mother practically handed him over to Diddy. This ain't just some wild internet theory. People are really starting to dig into the dark side of Bieber's rise to fame. And what they're finding? Chilling. So, let's get into all of it.
Here's another example of the Dusty ex-boyfriend effect. Blake Lively dated Penn Badgley for a few years. Now, I know nothing about this relationship, but this is what we are considering the unfulfilled relationship. It doesn't mean it's a bad relationship, doesn't mean it was toxic, it just means it wasn't fulfilling what either of them needed. So they break up, and then what happens? She briefly dates the Dusty guy. Now, Leonardo DiCaprio is very famous, good looking, all the things, right? So like to call him Dusty seems silly. But what I mean by this is he's not for commitment. This man is for the streets, and we all know that. So was it fun? I'm sure it was. But that's all it was. Fun. And then what happened? Boom! Husband! 1 month later.
Now, back to Blake. Ever heard rumors about her sabotaging co-stars? Well, this time, it ain't just whispers. What she did to Penn was straight up foul. Imagine stepping onto set, ready to work, only to find out that your lead co-star, the one you're supposed to have undeniable on-screen chemistry with, can't stand you. Not just that, but she's working behind the scenes to turn the whole cast against you. That's exactly what Blake did when Gossip Girl started filming. And get this, she straight up admitted it in an old interview.
Well, one thing Blake Lively loves to do is tell on herself. So in a newly resurfaced interview from 2009 in Glamour magazine, Blake Lively opened up about how she tried to poison the cast of Gossip Girl against Penn Badgley. So we now know that she had Mr. Armie Hammertime fired from Gossip Girl after just 4 episodes, and now it appears she tried to do the same thing to Penn Badgley. Apparently she wasn't too pleased with Mr. Badgley when he was first cast. She didn't like the choice, so she tried to taint the rest of the cast against him, but once they realized what a good guy he was, she realized that she lost the battle. Funny enough, she ended up dating Penn Badgley later on. So, falling for a guy, dating him, maybe wanting to date him. I don't know, maybe he got to see the yummy, flirty side of Blake Lively.
No twisting words here. She confessed to making sure the entire cast was on her side, leaving Penn isolated. She didn't want him there, she didn't like him, and she made damn sure everybody else felt the same way. Now tell me, what kind of behavior is that? And the craziest part? Penn didn't even do anything to deserve this. It took the cast a whole week to realize that Blake was just out here hating for no reason. Like, seriously, how does that even make sense? And let's talk about how this played out, because while Blake went on to be Hollywood's golden girl, Penn, he practically disappeared. Yeah, he's back in the spotlight now, thanks to you, but after Gossip Girl, he was low-key blacklisted. And now that we know what went down, it's not hard to connect the dots. Blake wasn't just a rising star. She had major influence, especially after locking it down with Ryan Reynolds, aka Hollywood royalty. Suddenly, she had the media wrapped around her finger, cozying up with A-listers, making power moves. And guess what? Producers were falling in line. So when Blake made it crystal clear that she wasn't rocking with Penn, That was all it took to sink his career. And if you think that sounds like a stretch, let's be real. This isn't the first time we've seen her pull this stunt. Sound familiar? Because it should. Look at the mess surrounding It Ends With Us. People have been clocking the way Blake and other cast members have been conveniently sidelining Justin Baldoni, just like she did with Penn. And it ain't just whispers. The legal drama between Baldoni and the studio is ugly, and Blake? She's keeping her hands clean while still playing the same game. And let's not forget Colleen Hoover's situation. By the time the truth about the behind-the-scenes chaos came out, Colleen was so embarrassed she vanished from social media and even considered quitting altogether. And even now that she's back, it's like Blake never existed in her world. No tags, no mentions, nothing. And Blake's response? The ultimate Hollywood move? She unfollowed Colleen. Coincidence? I don't think so. People have been side-eyeing the It Ends With Us cast, wondering why no one's stepping up to defend Justin Baldoni. But let's be real. Just like Colleen Hoover, they probably feel way too embarrassed to admit they ever trusted Blake in the first place. Because guess what? She's been pulling the strings for years. This woman has been out here playing puppet master, twisting narratives, and throwing people under the bus whenever it suits her. And somehow, no matter how many journalists, co-stars, or even fans have called her out, she always comes out looking squeaky clean. Like, how does she keep getting away with this? Well, not anymore. Between her messy past with Penn Badgley and this legal war with Baldoni, the cracks in her image are showing. People are finally catching on to who she really is. And here's where it gets wild. After all the hate she had for Penn, imagine the shock when they actually started dating. Yup, for 3 whole years. Then, out of nowhere, Blake ditched him and ran straight into Ryan Reynolds' arms. Cold. And if that wasn't shady enough, raunchy messages have now been exposed, adding even more speculation to the mix. Some people even believe she had a thing for Baldoni, just like she did with Penn. Same old script, same old manipulation. And let's be honest, Penn might just be another casualty of Blake's Hollywood power trip. Some believe she deliberately made sure he never got the roles and recognition he deserved. At this point, Blake may be a C-list actress who can't make things happen without her husband's influence. But if there's one thing she can do, sabotage. And she does it well. You gotta give credit where it's due. She is the undisputed queen of taking down careers.
Okay, when it comes to the whole Blake Lively thing, if you have not seen the video of her being rude to the reporter, first of all, watch it. She pulls this whole sort of like, I wonder if the men are being asked about the costumes thing, because she, I think, is trying to imply that a question that she's asked about the costuming of the film is sexist. And I saw someone write in on YouTube and go, ma'am, you're in a Woody Allen movie. Take a seat. But if you watch this interview too, basically the entire time, she doesn't even look at the interviewer. She talks to Parker Posey the entire time. She's incredibly rude. And all I have to say is, some of you were not on the Gossip Girl message boards, and it shows.
And while Blake is out here plotting, Alabama Barker is busy torching reputations. Her diss track was so ruthless that Bad Baby is apparently ready to throw hands. And trust me, we have to talk about that next. Y'all, the beef between Alabama Barker and Bad Baby is spiraling out of control. This is not just petty internet drama. This is getting real messy, real fast. Alabama has been teasing her diss track for a minute, and now that it's out, whew, let's just say she ate Bad Baby up. And what's wild is that this track is Alabama's direct response to Overcooked, where Baby was coming hard for real bad. So now, it's payback season. And Baby, she is heated. Like, she straight up said that if they ever cross paths, it's on. And I'm not talking about some online back and forth. She's out here talking about a full-blown showdown. And honestly, the way things are looking, that might just happen sooner rather than later. Now, let's be real. Alabama might want to watch her back, because if you've been keeping up with Bad Baby, you already know she is not afraid to get physical. This girl stays in drama, and she's got a history of throwing hands on sight. She is always unhinged, and I wouldn't put it past her to whoop Alabama in public and brag about it later. Like, let's not forget, this is the same girl who recently fought her own mother and then posted the video herself, like it was a flex. And this ain't even new for her. She's been beefing with half the internet. Her baby daddy, Soulja Boy, Tyga, and now Alabama? At this point, drama is her brand. But this situation with Alabama? It's different. This ain't just an industry feud, it's personal. You'd think that since Baby threw shade at Alabama first, it would just be some harmless music beef, but nah! The moment Alabama hopped in the booth and clapped back, Baby snapped. All it took was for Alabama to post a little snippet of her song, and Baby lost it. She went off, calling Alabama fake and a liar for even making a diss track in the first place. But what really set her off? Alabama acting like she wasn't messing with Baby's man. Baby's exact words? Instead of being sorry, you're making diss tracks? Girl, what is wrong with you? You don't make no sense. You're coming for me like you didn't fuck with my man. If you were really sorry, you would have just said it, but nah, you'd rather be messy. And Alabama? Unbothered. She's still out here promoting her track like Baby's threats mean nothing. But let's be honest, if this keeps escalating, we might be looking at a real fight on our hands. Does Alabama really want that smoke? Because if these two actually cross paths, it's looking like a whole situation waiting to pop off. And with the way this beef is escalating, it might not be a matter of if, but when. Alabama didn't just stop at throwing bars, she went in on everything. She called out Levon for allegedly trying to get with her, threw shade at Bad Baby's looks, called out her surgeries, and even took jabs at her parenting. Ooh, Messy doesn't even begin to cover this. And of course, Bad Baby wasn't about to let that slide. She clapped back hard, basically laughing at Alabama's track, saying she could never match her flow or delivery. But while this diss track drama is stealing all the headlines, let me update you on the absolute chaos going on in Bad Baby's personal life. Because y'all, things with her mom, Barbara, a disaster.
I'm just telling you that my daughter is not a fighter. My daughter is not a fighter, but I am. Tell your daughter to leave my daughter alone.
Would you believe that just days after Barbara and Baby's little WWE-style showdown, Barbara is suddenly out here defending her daughter? Yep. The same mom she was throwing hands with last week is now coming for Soulja Boy and Baby's baby daddy, Levon, and she is not holding back. Barbara is calling Levon out, accusing him of isolating Baby from everyone just so he can control her money. And if that wasn't bad enough, she exposed him for still messing with his other baby mama while living in Bad Baby's house. Now, if that's true, this man is running a whole scam. He's constantly accused of ruining Baby's career, messing up her relationships, and worst of all, destroying her mental health. But before you start giving Barbara credit for finally standing up for her daughter, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because this whole thing turned into a hostile mess real fast. Levon wasn't about to sit back and take the heat. He fired back, calling Barbara a hypocrite and claiming the real reason she's mad is because she lost access to Baby's money, just like she had back in the day, and we all know how that went. But the real jaw-dropper? Levon took things way too far by bringing up an incident involving Barbara that he never should have mentioned, especially without Bad Baby's permission. Now that is a whole new level of messy. As Levon torched Barbara, he hit her with a gut-wrenching accusation, reminding her of how she always chose men over her own daughter. And not just any men, but one who allegedly S-A-D-E Bad Baby. And instead of protecting her own child, Barbara covered for this man and expected Baby to stay silent. That revelation left everyone shook. By the end of this bitter feud, one thing became painfully clear. Bad Baby has always been surrounded by toxic people. Her entire life, she's been used by the very same people who were supposed to protect her. And unless she breaks the cycle now, it might be too late. But even with all this chaos swirling around her, one question remains. who's actually looking out for her? Like, let's not forget, Bad Baby has been saying that she's battling cancer. The girl needs support, not more drama. It's wild how so many young stars seem to share the same tragic story. Bad influences, toxic environments, and a childhood that was never really theirs. And speaking of stars with disturbing upbringings, let's talk about Justin Bieber. Because if you thought Bad Baby's story was messy, Justin's journey to fame was just as twisted. And the people closest to him? Major players in his struggles. Most people remember how Justin Timberlake and Usher were literally fighting over who got to sign him. On the surface, Bieber's rise to fame looked like the ultimate dream come true. A young kid getting discovered on YouTube and skyrocketing to global superstardom. But behind the scenes, a whole different reality. And now, with so many rumors swirling about his mental health struggles, people are once again pointing fingers. And a lot of that blame is landing on his mom, Patty Mallet. Some are straight up saying she sold her son out, while others are cutting her some slack, claiming she was just a desperate single mother trying to give him a better life. But to really understand why Patty made the choices she did, including handing Justin over to Diddy, we have to take a deep dive into her past. Because the answers? They're right there. And y'all won't believe just how bad things got for both mother and son. Patty Mallet has been through hell and back. But the real question is, did her own trauma cloud her judgment when she let her teenage son run around unsupervised with industry giants like Usher and Diddy? Let's not forget, Patty had Justin when she was just 2 weeks shy of her 18th birthday. She was a single teen mom, raising him in a low-income neighborhood, working multiple jobs just to keep the lights on. She did everything she could to provide for him, and if you look at her past, it's easy to see why she might have made some questionable decisions. Her childhood? A nightmare. Patty later confirmed that her early years were the darkest period of her life. She was taken advantage of from the ages of 3 to 13, and by the time she was a teen, she had already turned to substances and alcohol as an escape. So when Justin suddenly blew up on YouTube, it must have felt like a miracle. Enter Scooter Braun and Usher, the industry heavyweights who promised to make Justin a star. Patty saw them as saviors and was the one signing his contracts, making the big decisions, trusting the industry to look out for her son. But was she too trusting? Because this one error in judgment landed Justin in compromising situations, like the infamous 2009 incident when a 15-year-old Justin spent 48 hours at Diddy's house. And this wasn't some casual studio session. People still question why that was even allowed. And Diddy? He bragged about it. He straight up boasted about how he took Justin under his wing, saying they went buck crazy during that time. But now, with Diddy facing serious accusations of trafficking and predatory behavior, people are re-examining that moment with fresh eyes. And what they're realizing? It was wildly inappropriate from the very beginning. And guess what? According to sources close to Justin, he reportedly wants nothing to do with Diddy now. And honestly, who can blame him? People close to Justin have been saying for years that he was thrown to the wolves as a teen, forced to navigate an industry filled with predators, while his own mother, either naive or overwhelmed, let it happen. There's no doubt Patty loved her son, but many can't comprehend why. Given her own history as a victim, she still allowed Justin to be around people she barely knew. All for fame? Some might argue that Patty's own trauma kept her from seeing the blatant red flags. But let's not forget, her life was chaos long before Justin even took his first breath. Trauma, poverty, and heartbreak shaped the choices she made as a young mother. Decisions that ultimately put Justin on a path lined with power, fame, and, as some believe, dangerous influences from day one. When Justin's YouTube covers went viral, Patty was suddenly thrown into a world she knew nothing about. No experience, no guidance, just her faith, her instincts, and a desperate hope that she was making the right call. But let's be real. Faith alone wasn't enough to protect Justin from the harsh realities of the industry. Even she admitted in her memoir that she was overwhelmed by the never-ending contracts, the legal jargon, and the high-stakes decisions. But she also acknowledged something even more unsettling. She knew the weight of her choices. She knew she was signing away Justin's childhood. And yet, she went through with it anyway. And her reasoning? She believed God wouldn't have put her in this position just for her to fail. But did she fail? Because with a single signature, she handed Justin Bieber over to Usher and Diddy. And now, here we are. The most brutal part? Usher once fondly reminisced about how he didn't just mentor Justin. He delivered him to L.A. Reid like a gift when he was just 14. And what happened 1 year later? At 15 years old, Justin was spending 48 hours at Diddy's house. And now, with Diddy facing multiple allegations of trafficking and predatory behavior, people are looking back at Justin's early days in the industry with horrified realization. So, the real question is, did Patty unknowingly sell her son's innocence to an industry that chews up young stars and spits them out? Or was she just too blind to see the warning signs? One thing's for sure, Justin's relationship with Diddy didn't last. Somewhere along the way, he distanced himself. But was it too late? Because let's not forget, Justin's struggles didn't just come out of nowhere. Justin's struggles, his substance use, his public breakdowns, his constant battles with his own image. None of this just came out of nowhere. It's not far-fetched to trace it all back to the very beginning. And at the center of it all, Patty Millett, a mother who loved her son, but one who may have, willingly or not, put him in harm's way. And when it comes to Justin's family, things don't get any better. His dad, Jeremy Bieber, was in and out of his life, completely disappearing for an entire year when Justin was just 4. And yet, in recent years, they've reconnected, with Justin even admitting that he's way closer to his dad than his mom. But let's be real. Jeremy was still an absent father, popping in only when it was convenient. So, if you really look at it, it's clear. Justin wasn't just failed by his mom. The other adults in his life? They failed him too. And now, things are getting even messier. A source recently revealed that Justin has been explicitly advised to stay as far away as possible from anything and everything related to Diddy. And let's not forget, around the same time, another insider came forward saying Justin has been really struggling mentally. So now, the real question remains, did Patty truly protect her son the way a mother should? Or did she just trust the wrong people with his future? Because looking back, the whole situation is looking real sus. And let's be honest, the drama never stops. I know y'all have thoughts on this. Did Blake Lively really sabotage Penn Badgley's career? Is Alabama Barker doing too much? Or is Bad Baby just mad she got out-rapped? And what do you make of this entire Justin Bieber situation? Drop your takes in the comments because I need to hear what y'all think. And of course, if you love keeping up with this level of celebrity mess, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Because trust me, we got more tea coming, and you do not want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.